Order. At this meeting, the Commission will hold hearings on notices of intent and requests for determination of applicability. The Commission will also be voting on decisions and taking up other business. No hearing times have been assigned to the specific agenda items, and the Commission will take them up in the order they are listed. Discussion and action items may be taken up at any time. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting online. The Commission welcomes participation in the meeting by the applicants and general public. Attending the meeting tonight are all 7 Conservation Commission members: Eric Foley, Marilyn Frank, Margaret Wheeler, Ann Jeffries, Jim Gazzo, Noel Donovan, and Peter Mahler. Also present are Matt Salem, our assistant planner. This meeting is being recorded by Westford Cat. We respectfully ask that everyone mute their computer microphones and phones when they are not in use to avoid unnecessary noise during the meeting. We respectfully ask that everyone mute their computer microphones when they're not in use. This is an open meeting, so for all panelists who have access to the chat panel, please only use chat for technical issues related to the video conferencing. The Commission will proceed by opening the agenda items, having the applicant or the representative present the project, or if previously open in a public meeting, they will provide a brief summary of the project. The Commission and staff will follow with questions, and then we'll open up to the public for questions and comments. At this point, if you wish to participate, you will raise your hand and your microphone will be unmuted for you to participate. Due to limitations of the platform, attendees that are accessing the meeting via the telephone number at the top of the agenda will only be able to listen to the proceedings and will not be able to contribute. Please access the video conference via the link on the agenda, even if you do not have a webcam to participate. I'll take a roll call. Eric?
Here.
Jim?
Here.
Margaret?
Here.
Marilyn? Noel?
Here.
Ann?
Here.
Peter? Here. Okay, we'll move our first agenda item, which is open forum. Members of the Commission have anything for open forum? Jim?
Yeah, I just want to bring you guys up to date on some conversations and contacts I've had with Bill Harmon over the past couple of weeks. This is about 5 Callista Terrace. That was the issue with the temporary swimming pool potentially being over the property line and onto common land of the conservation restriction behind Callista Terrace. I think I got 1 phone call and I think like 3 emails, all on the same topic. Bill is not happy, not satisfied with the fact that they're removing the pool by within a week or so after Labor Day. He's now concerned that they're parking vehicles and that they've done clearing or piling mulch or something on the common land. I don't know if they have or not. I haven't gone up to the property, but I know Carol has visited with an as-built, and her assessment was that no, the pool may have been very close or on the line, which is what the homeowner said, and that he's going to remove it. And next year it'll either be not used at all or it'll be placed in the proper location. But Bill went to the building commissioner and tried to get him to do a rough survey of the property line, which the commissioner declined. And he was trying to get me to do something, and I told him I'm happy with the way it is, but I did offer him that he could either talk to Peter and put an item on the agenda, ask Peter to put an item on the agenda, or he could come and speak at an open forum, but he declined to do that either. So I don't know if he's going to continue activity with it or not, but that's it. I made no promises or anything like that to him. So
okay.
I've been keeping Peter, Matt, and Carol up to date on all these activities. I just wanted to make sure the rest of the commission heard it too.
Okay. I mean, I thought we put this to bed with a homeowner at our last meeting and that we were all fine with, what was being proposed as far as taking the pool down and having it relocated next year.
That's what I explained to him, and he said he was listening, but for some reason he didn't feel like talking. But he did hear that, and he was aware of it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, he claims that the as-built is incorrect and that the well is actually on the common land. That's what he's claiming now. But the only way to resolve that would be to have another survey done of the property. And I don't know if you guys want to do that for, Carol claims that everything's fine. It was just the pool that was encroaching. So So we'll just leave it as it is unless you guys want to do something different.
I didn't want any action. I just open forum. I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware
Okay.
that we've had repeated contacts.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Jim. Any other open forum items from the commission members? Matt, do you have something?
Mr. Chair, yes. We received a response from town council regarding the Chapter 91 questions that we sent end of last week. Those will be in your meeting packets going forward, so, or for the next meeting, so you'll have a chance to review town council's responses.
Okay, so you'll add that as an agenda item?
Yes, I mean, it's still 50, I mean, we can add it as an agenda item. 54 Elm Street is also, or Elm Road is still on that agenda. So I don't know if that would be an appropriate time or if we can make it a separate agenda item.
I'd make it a separate agenda item before we have him, so we can review that thoroughly. So when we talk to him, we know exactly what we need to do.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any comments from the audience on open forum? Do you see anything, Matt? Anybody's got a raised hand?
I do not see any raised hands, nor have any questions been submitted. So.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is a public hearing for Oakride 334 Groton Road, which is an RDA. And let me just find the notice. This is a legal notice under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, Wetlands Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 131. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 26, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via remote participation to consider a requested determination of applicability of Brandon Oakride for the installation of a water line from the water main to the dwelling within 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland at 334 Groton Road, assessors map 76, parcel 4. Okay, Brandon, are you there? Or somebody representing him?
Yep, I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Kim?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm here with my my fiance Andrea. We're here to discuss hooking up to the water main. Basically, when we just moved in a couple months ago to this nice residence here on Groton Road. And since moving in, we've kind of found that the water is subpar. We did the inspection early on in the process, and it said it was safe with some risk, was what the final assessment was. But after looking at it, smelling it, seeing the discoloration, I don't feel it's safe for me and my family to continue drinking this water. So I'm requesting that we hook up this water main. It's a sizable distance from the 100-foot threshold, but it does cross in as we enter the household, as we start moving forward towards the house. So I'm requesting that we do a one-day trench, open up the trench, run the water line, and then close the trench that same day. We still have some previous provisions from our earlier COC up to protect the water line and any runoff from the project, but I don't expect there to be much, and will allow the land to stabilize as well. This is my first one, so if I missed anything, I apologize.
No, you're good.
Homeowner, so this is our first
Okay.
year.
Yeah. Any questions from the commission, Jim?
You're
Unmute yourself,
muted.
Tim.
I'm sorry about that. Does the water department requiring you to connect where you're connecting to the main line? I'm just curious why it's so far over to the east there.
Yeah, we've actually engaged the water department. We've paid them, and they've put a flag at that location saying that's the only location. I'm with you. I much would have preferred it to be closer. We'll actually have to dig up part of the driveway and patch it as well. But it'd be a small section because they're just going to dig, a couple feet. But yeah, it's an extra $1,000 to do that. So I'm with you there.
Margaret?
Yeah, I was just curious, what the plans are for the old well?
So we have a plumber lined up for when we say go for the project, and he's going to disconnect the old well. The intent was to remove all the piping that we have in the basement and then cap it. So that was the intent. Yep.
Yeah, I had just looking through the filing, I didn't really see anything related to that, so I just figured I'd ask.
No, that's a
Thank
good
you.
question. I hadn't put it in there, so.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. It just, that's why we have the ability to ask the questions.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? I've lost my video again, so I've
Noel?
got.
Oh, yeah, I did have a question. This came
Yeah,
up,
okay,
this was something that came up last week that doesn't really have anything to do with the water line. I wanted to know if you guys had a permit for the dock that is on the water, because I know that's kind of a lot of homeowners come in and they don't realize that maybe the people before them didn't get a permit. So I was wondering if you knew if there was an existing permit for that dock.
So right now, as far as I know, there's no permit on file with the town. Part of the COC process that we went through required us to apply for an LAP permit through the state, and we have done that. Just waiting more information on that.
Okay.
So that's the Chapter 91 license.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had one more question about what is going to be stored in the shed that's pretty close to the water there.
The shed's been removed part of the previous COC
Other
process.
conditions, yep.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
We had to remove it earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we also had them remove the, wasn't it also the gravel and the concrete pad there as well?
Correct. Yep.
Correct.
So
That's
those
the-
have all been removed and they've renaturalized that whole area.
That's great. Good.
Okay, any further questions from the commission?
This is
If
fine.
not, yep, okay, any questions from the audience?
I do not see any hands raised or questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so can I have a motion for a negative determination on this?
Second,
All in favor, Eric?
yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes,
Marilyn? Marilyn? Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
yes.
Peter? Yes. Motion to close the public hearing?
Second,
All in favor, Eric?
yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes,
Marilyn?
Marilyn, I think you're on mute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
yes.
Peter? Yes. Okay, we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is a public hearing on R.L. Legacy and Sons at 83 Hildreth Street, another RDA. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, Westford Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 26, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via remote participation to consider a request for determination of applicability of R.L. Legacy and Sons for the abandonment of the existing field septic tank and leaching area and the installation of the replacement sewage disposal system with 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland at 83 Hildreth Street, Assessment Map 16, Parcel 4. Okay, you're on.
Hi, good evening. I'm Kevin Ritchie from Civil Solutions. I'm here on behalf of R.L. Legacy and Son, who would like to install a new septic system at 83 Hildreth Street. The property is currently being sold. It's got a failed septic system, which is within the 50-foot buffer zone. We're proposing a new system which has been approved by the Board of Health. It's pushed as far to the property line, as far to the street, and as far off the wetland as we can physically get it. Property does have a well, 100-foot well arc here. So you can see the system kind of jammed in the corner. The existing plumbing cannot be changed. So we're coming out to a new septic tank, pump chamber, and then lifting it up to an alternative system here in the front corner. The septic tank is roughly 70 feet off the wetlands. The fill at its closest point would be 65 feet off the wetlands, and the leaching area is 75 feet off the wetlands. Again, the plan has been approved by the Board of Health, and we're just waiting for approval from the commission.
Okay, members of the commission have any
Jim,
questions on that? Yep.
How far off to the southeast is the property line?
The property line is, so there's a stone wall down the side of the lot line and across the front. And we're the minimum, we're 10 feet off of each of those.
No, I mean over on the side where the garage and the driveway are. Where's the
Oh,
property
over
line
here?
there?
It's probably another 30 or 40 feet, but in this area here, there is, the whole area is basically a ledge outcropping. So basically the entire usable area, not that this area is usable, but the well arc runs through here, and then the 100-foot buffer runs across here. And then again, this area up here in the front corner is all the ledge outcropping.
Okay,
Peter?
yep.
So we have an existing 2-bedroom dwelling. What's the septic size for?
Septic this is limited to a 2-bedroom.
Okay,
There's no increase in flow.
okay. And the leaching field is set for a 2-bedroom septic.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. Any other questions? Any questions from the audience? Matt, you see anything?
I do not see anything, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve this as a negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Eric?
Well, Peter, wouldn't we do this as a conditional negative? Because doesn't he have to put up some, erosion control measure or something?
Yeah. I'm sorry, did I not say conditional negative? I thought I didn't, I mean, does he have that on the plan? Putting up-
do have
Yeah,
the-
it's on there.
Yeah.
It's on the plan, the erosion control
Yeah.
barrier.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, it's on there. I just want to make sure that, we're listening to it as a conditional negative determination and not
Yeah,
a negative
Yeah,
determination.
I meant to say that, conditional negative.
Okay, that's
right.
fine.
Because he's got everything on there.
Yep.
Okay. Eric, yes. Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes,
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Eric?
Second. Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
yes,
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, thanks very much. Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is another public hearing for Castor at 38 Lakeshore Drive North, 3341753. This is a legal notice under Massachusetts General Law 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Wetlands Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 26, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via remote participation on the notice of intent application of Craig and Marsha Castor for the demolition of the existing single-family dwelling, construction of a new single-family dwelling with a larger footprint with an expanded patio within 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland at 38 Lakeshore Drive North, assessors map 78, parcel 94. Welcome.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Barely.
Barely?
Really,
Okay.
Mark?
Coming in garbled.
Oh, that's not good. Let me see what I can do here.
No, not very good.
Jeff,
Is that any better? Not
Jeff, this is Matt. If you want to call in on a phone and use the number at the bottom of the link that was sent, that might work better than the microphone you're currently using.
okay. Hello? Is that working?
Better.
It is, you need, can you mute it on your computer though?
Can you hear me?
Sounds like the old voice for the box.
Yeah.
You got sonar.
How's that?
Better.
Yeah, that's better.
Still getting the feedback. Still getting the feedback. On the audio panel, do you have phone call selected or does it say computer audio?
Yep. How's that?
Good.
That's good.
Is that better?
Good.
Yep, okay.
Okay. That's what I get for using the wife's computer and not mine.
Hey, don't it say
Okay.
Yeah, watch what you say.
that? Sorry.
This is public record, just so you know.
For the record, Jeff Hannaford representing Craig and Marsha Castor at 38 Lakeshore Drive North for a notice of intent for work in the buffer zone. What we have here is an existing seasonal cottage. The intent is to raise the existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling. The background on the lot is this cottage was built about 1935. It's not winterized. They're looking to use this year round. So with the design of the new house, it's fairly close to the existing footprint. It's no closer to the lake than the existing, but it will add a second floor to add some more living space. Back in 2008, they did file a notice of intent for the work between the existing cottage and the lake. The work was done and COC was issued for that work. So in that regard, there is an existing deck to the rear of the dwelling that will remain. There's also a patio and stairs down to the lake that will remain, as well as a retaining wall and plantings. A portion of the deck that is to remain will have to be removed for the construction of the new house, and then will be reconnected to the new house. There's an existing deck in a jog of the existing cottage to the left rear. That deck will be removed. The access from the house on that side is to the left in that rear jog. So there will be a small landing when they step out of the new house that will connect to that deck in the rear that says to remain. The driveway that's there is a crushed stone driveway that's going to remain as is. There are 2 trees that were identified in a site visit with Carol and Matt that are requested to be removed, one by the back corner of the deck and one towards the front of the dwelling. The intent would be to replant something in place of those, something native that would be agreeable to the commission. There is a patio to the right rear. They would like to expand that into the jog of the new dwelling. That patio is large fieldstone type pavers with crushed stone in between. So it's a fairly good sized infiltration for any runoff. And so they just want to expand that into that corner. Otherwise, everything else would remain as you see it now.
Jim?
Could you explain that a little bit more there? I see an area that says existing stairs and landscaping to remain, and then the expanded patio proposed. It's just a small triangular shape, the patio you're proposing?
Correct, into that jog at the structure.
So it's a small right triangle.
Correct. Correct.
And all the other landscaping that's going to remain, what is that exactly?
As you can see to the rear of the deck, there's a double line running left to right. That's an existing retaining wall. In the notice of intent filed in 08, they created that wall to terrace the backyard. On the lake side, there's plantings and stone along the slope.
I'm talking about that area. It's on the 30-foot wetland line. You step onto that expanded proposed patio, and then from there you step onto what? When you're right at that.
Going towards the lake?
Yes, going towards the lake.
It's just a planted area and there's a retaining wall there.
So Jeff, this picture you have in your packet, is that the picture of the current patio?
Right, there is a good photo of the backyard there. There's actually 2 photos showing the rear.
So those stones, the stones coming off the current deck, are those, that's all remaining in place along the, is that the bank?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking at the photo with the stairway up to the deck, to the left of the stairs, there's a stone wall that actually continues further to the left off the picture. All that will remain.
Other questions from the commission?
So the tree in front of this deck right now, that's the tree that you're looking to remove?
Yes.
And what's wrong with that tree?
It's the size and proximity.
Okay. And what were you looking at planting in its place?
Something native that would be agreeable to the commission or
A tree,
the
right?
administrator. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
two of them, actually, two of them.
Similar location, a different site on the property, or?
They'll be in two different locations. One would be near this and the other would be towards the front where the other tree is.
Okay.
And the stumps would not be removed. The stumps will remain for the integrity of that slope and wall.
Matt, Jeff said that you and Carl have been on the site, looked at the site. Anything come to mind when you took a walk on the site that should be raised here?
No, it seems, the erosion controls look to be in a stable position or a location that can be maintained. The trees to be removed. The second tree actually can be seen in the picture on the screen. It's the one above the house, kind of where the hand is now. If I'm remembering correctly. But no, there weren't any major concerns with where the existing patio that is to be remain, or where they're expanding it, and the field stones, that has, I think that's where the current roof infiltration system is, and that's to remain as well. So we didn't have any concerns with that.
So increases in impervious surface, it sounds like we're, Jeff, same, a little bit more impervious surface than we had before?
Yeah, it is a little bit more. It's about, I think it was 400 square feet or so. As Matt mentioned, under the NOI done in '08, the commission had asked for some French drains for roof runoff. So they did install those. And then what they did was they kind of capped that area with that patio. And the patio pavers sit on crushed stone that aids in the infiltration to the not only the soil underneath, but to those French drains. That there's one that runs left to right towards the rear of the house, and there's also another one that runs at an angle. So any runoff coming off the back of the house or down the side of the house is trapped by the French drains, and also the entire surface of that patio is infiltrating. I think there's a photo, Matt, if you happen to have that other one that shows the patio. There's some pretty good gaps between those pavers that allow for the infiltration. There you go.
There it is. Yeah.
My only thought was, we're increasing impervious surface. Without being on it, it seems like the front towards the Nabnasset Lake has, been pretty engineered already. So I was just wondering if there are opportunities to increase buffers anywhere. Matt, you probably could answer that maybe.
When speaking with the property owner, she mentioned that and going back to the prior photo, it is, there is a pretty well maintained buffer coming up from the lake to the property, and she's looking to maintain that. She likes the privacy that it affords, being up and having the bank vegetate, or the slope quite vegetated, and I think there was some, they were looking to, one of the locations was for replanting was going to be back by the pine tree on the street side of the property.
Yeah, I was just curious as to what, if any, mitigation we were going to get for the increase in the impervious surface. How about you, Jeff? Anything that we can Was there any mitigation proposed for that impervious surface?
We had not, Eric, other than increasing the infiltration of the patio area, because the French drains were already existing. We felt that was adequate for what was presented. I'm not quite sure of the roof line of the proposed house. I would say if there's an eave that runs front to back along the side of the house, the left side as you're looking at that photo, possibly they could do a stone trench drip edge underneath the eave to aid in some infiltration.
Will all the roof runoff be focused into that existing drainage area?
Yeah, there's two French drains. One, like I said, it cuts across the back of the cottage as you're looking at it. And then there's another one to the left as you're looking at that photo that's at an angle that intercepts.
When the new building is put in place, will all of the roof runoff be focused into the drainage system?
I would say the majority, but not all of it. As it is today, as you can see today, the roof pitches to the right. The main house closest to you in the picture, that does get picked up in that trench drain. I would guess that the jog furthest away, right, that's only a few feet off the property line. It's very tight over there. So I would say, you know, possible.
You'd indicated you weren't sure how the roof was going to pitch on the new construction, so maybe it won't be focused over towards the right to that side boundary. Maybe it'll be set up in a way that you can collect the runoff from all the roof and focus it to your drain.
Right, that's the hope, is we can, you know, direct enough of the additional over towards that left side where the drainage is already in place. And I wouldn't imagine, like I said, it's very tight on that right side as you're looking at the photo, or left side as you're looking from the street. We could talk to the owners and the builder, and if there is enough room, if there's any roof that pitches to that side, again, maybe a stone drip edge type trench along the eave would help on that side. But we're very, very limited on area on that side. That's why the French drains ran across the back and angled up the left side.
Well, do you know, when are you going to have finalized what the roof line's going to look like?
That's already finalized. I just don't have those plans in front of me. All I have is the floor plans. I don't know if the owner or builder are tuned in. They may be able to shed more light on it, but we're talking about, you know, a relatively small area, considering that the French drains were already installed once.
Mr. Chair, the homeowner is in the audience.
Okay.
Noel had a question, Peter.
Hi, I'm concerned about the tree in between the house and the pond being cut down. And I know you said that you were going to keep the roots, the trunk in there for stability, but I'm concerned that throughout the years, as that starts to decompose, that's going to lose its stability. So I really wouldn't be in favor of removing that tree from the front there.
Well, the problem with that is it's standing by itself, and it's on the lake side. It's on the windward side.
This is the owner.
With this,
You guys hear me?
sorry.
Yep.
I think there's a little misunderstanding, and the one tree, I mean, this does look very similar to the tree that is being removed, but it's actually a little bit farther to the left and next to the house. Matt, I don't know if I wasn't there when you went there, but I don't know if you remember that. That tree that you're seeing will not be removed. So the tree is there, yes, right there, versus the other tree that you're looking at is right there, right, or a little bit, yeah, right. So that tree will not be removed, Noel.
Okay.
It's another tree that's right next to the house. That's okay. I don't know, Matt, if you can remember that, but my wife was here.
Yeah, it's highlighted now. This is the tree.
Yes.
that is-
Oh, right there, okay, all right.
Sorry for the confusion. I just,
And another question I had for the homeowners is, and the 2 docks that you have, do you have current Chapter 91 permits for those docks?
I'd have to go back and look at what one's been in there for 30, 40 years. I'd have to go back from the owners from we bought it from, and it's a permanent dock. It doesn't get removed. And then the other one's been in there for more than 10, 12 years. I don't know. I don't know the direct answer to that. I'd have to validate it.
Okay.
Can you give us any insight into the roof line? How is runoff on?
Yes, I have the builder here too.
Yeah, the roof line you're talking about on the opposite side of the building, just
Correct.
like
On the main dwelling?
exactly. That whole side could be a drain if you want, a stone drain, because it's not much room there anyway. I think that's all they propose. It's not really a place that they have maintenance anyway, so you could pick up quite a bit of mitigation there.
Okay, so you could get a drain in on that side. Okay, that's what we were concerned about. Margaret, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just saying that both of those docks need to have Chapter 91 licenses, so if they don't, licenses need to be applied for. You know, that the licenses are for whether it's a permanent structure or whether it's a temporary one that comes out every fall.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission? Noel?
I also wanted to know if we could put in there that there won't be any spraying of any herbicides or pesticides in the area that could potentially drain off into the pond. I know a lot of people are spraying for mosquitoes, and I know it's a big problem around the pond, especially right now, but I'd like to see that in there.
Okay. Any other comments from the commission? Any comments from the audience? Do you see anything, Matt? I don't see anything.
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So we'll have to continue this to our next meeting, which is September 9th, I believe.
Could I ask, just out of curiosity, because I don't know this process, why would it be continued? Is there something we're missing? Or
We have to write an order of conditions and approve it.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. I just didn't understand the process.
And then once we do that and approve it at our next meeting, then you have to wait 10 days before you can start anything.
All right, thank you.
Okay?
Yep,
All right.
thanks.
So can I have a motion to continue this to our next meeting, which is September 9th? All in
Second.
favor? Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Ian?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, thank you. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night. Okay, we're going to continue our next agenda item, which is a continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for Bernstein off River Road, map 30, parcel 65. Okay. So is the applicant there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So has everybody had a chance to go through these order of conditions?
Yep.
Any other additional comments?
I do.
Well,
I actually went down there today with my kayak to check out the brook right now, and I still don't feel that it's necessary to have the 4 parking spaces there. I don't think that the available area to maneuver in there with a kayak is pretty limited, even when we're not in a drought. So I don't really see this as being a widely used by many people area. And I also still feel like the 8 feet at the end is just a little too excessive. I do feel that it definitely needs a boardwalk there, but I just think that maybe we could cut down the size of it. I don't really see that as being a need for that area.
Comments from other
So-
commission members?
Sorry. But so the platform at the water's edge, it can be cut down, probably to like 6 or probably even the width of the boardwalk itself, which would be 48 inches. But the original intent of it was so that it would be pretty much the full length of a kayak itself, or a little bit under, just so it's a lot easier for people to pull up and have something to grab on, and like so they could get in and out of the kayaks or canoes.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying with that, but I feel like maybe having it the width of the boardwalk would be plenty for that area. I think 8
Would
feet
also simplify your construction too.
Yeah.
So in that case, would it be easier then to just extend the boardwalk to the water's edge, or then build a platform of the same width?
I think that would work. Have you also considered at the end of the platform, right at the water, having it angled down towards the water a little bit, so that when you're putting your kayak in, you can kind of, and coming out, there's a ramp there instead of just
I haven't looked into that, but I just think that would involve removing some dirt from the bank, and I'm not sure if you guys are against that or not.
Yeah, there's a pretty big tree in the water right as you get in. And it comes up kind of close to where actually right where are you planning on doing anything about that tree that's down in there?
Yeah, my plan would be to remove the large log. It's dead and currently rotting in the water. So I'd remove that and either chop it up or dispose of it in the area around.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the commission want to do? They want to reduce that?
I'm for smaller. Smaller is better in this case.
I'm more of a minimalist.
Okay, so he should just extend the dock out an additional, what is it, 4 feet?
Yeah. So you just
Okay.
need to extend the platform to the water's edge in void of the dock.
Okay, yeah, you're just gonna have to change your diagram for us. That's all, which you can do.
Yeah,
And
that
also,
can be done easily.
I still think that the 4 parking lot area is just, it seems a little excessive to me. You'd be clearing out quite a bit of area to do that. It's pretty heavily vegetated right now.
We can just shrink it down into 2 parking spots and have 1 car on either side of the birch tree in the middle, if that would be any better.
That's pretty much what's there right now. It just does need to be cleaned up a little bit. I think that would be a good thing to do.
Okay, yeah, that can be done.
Thank you.
Okay, yep, good. Marilyn, you had a question?
I was just gonna say, would that limit it without adding at least a 3rd parking lot? I'm not down in that area. Jim, have you walked that area at all? I can't hear Jim.
Not recently.
It is there, what's
I
there?
know it
now?
doesn't get a lot of use. It doesn't get a lot of
It's
use.
Yeah, Marilyn, I go by there quite a bit when I'm going up the EBC, and, there's never anybody there.
Okay, okay.
Not you.
Normally what people do is they don't even park along the road. They go all the way in, and then there's like a little spot in there. But where he's putting the walkway in there, the cars wouldn't be able to get in, so they would have to park there. But there really is never anybody there.
Okay. We're just making his job easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any comments from the audience on this application?
Margaret had her hand up.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry.
would just, if the boat launching platform is going to be eliminated, then we need to modify the language in the project description to remove that.
Yeah, we'll do that. He's got to submit a new diagram.
Okay. So does
So
that
he-
mean that we're tabling the orders till then as well?
No, we can just have Matt modify them as directed and approve
Okay.
them as modified, and as long as he receives the new diagram of the plan, he'll be
Okay.
all set. All right,
Okay.
he'll
So I
hold
would
them
not
for
need
you.
to attend another meeting and present it to you guys. I could just do that with Matt. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
just get all this information to Matt. Matt, you can change the wording on the on the special conditions.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So motion to approve as modified.
Well, no,
But
Margaret says something.
so I had sent Matt a couple of wording corrections. The last part of condition 22, the wording's kind of a little bit convoluted about keeping the maintenance low, so I sent him some revised wording. And also in the condition about wood chips only coming from Westford trees, I asked him to add some language that, it talked about avoiding invasive species, and I put some examples in to make sure, that people know that we wanted to be sure that there wasn't going to be any knotweed in there, no Asian bittersweet or poison ivy vines. So to be really specific about all the kinds of things that invasive species could cover. So I'd already sent that to Matt.
okay.
Okay.
Yep, Matt, you have all that?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So can we now approve the order conditions as amended?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, Eric?
yes.
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second,
Eric?
yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, you're all set. Just get with Matt and get all those changes into him, and you should be all set to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good
all
luck.
right, good
Good
luck.
luck with your project.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is the continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for Cole Perry, 73 Nutting Road, 3341752.
Hi, good evening. Matt Waterman with Land Tech Consultants, here representing Kathleen Coyle and Bill Perry. We were in front of the commission at their last meeting on August 12th, and the NOI that we filed with the board is for an emergency overflow pipe for the infiltration system that's at the entrance of Wendell Place, a subdivision on Nutting Road. At our last meeting, I think we covered most of the functionality of the overflow and the purpose and the intent of the overflow. I know that there was a couple of questions that were raised both either by the commission or Carol Gumbart. She wanted to see a copy of the O&M manual, which I forwarded to the commission. There was the preference to get some direct correspondence from the engineering department or the Department of Public Works, just kind of confirming their preference for the overflow, which I believe Matt Salem has received.
Yeah, we have it. Yep, we have that.
Yep.
And I understand there was verbally that was expressed. And then there was also the addition of just showing erosion control within the 100-foot buffer along the edge of Nutting Road or along the edge of the work on Nutting Road, which we submitted to Matt Salem late today. Be happy to answer any questions. I don't know if anyone else has any additional questions or comments.
Jim?
Who actually is going to own this overflow pipe once the project's done?
We're still working with the planning board on a final decision that is not 100% defined as of today, but my understanding, or at least as it's written in the draft decision that we have with the planning board, is that the planning board or the town of Westford would own all of the infrastructure that's within a right of way, whether that's a catch basin, a manhole, or a drain pipe. If it's a device that's off the edge or outside the right of way, like a detention basin or the infiltration system, the intent is that that would be owned by the property owners or some mechanism thereof, to be determined by the planning board.
So based on what you just said, the overflow pipe, who would that belong to?
The town of Westford.
Okay, because the O&M manual says that stormwater treatment system number 1, and it defines all the components of that, is going to be owned and maintained by the property owner. That's on page 2 of 6 of the O&M manual.
Yep. No, and I correct, and I can clarify because but all the treatment trains have a combination of both. It wouldn't just be treatment train 1; it would be all of the treatment trains because they all have a catch basin that flows into a either a device or something that's outside the right of way. So I can clarify on all of the treatment trains that the portions of the treatment train that are within the right of way are to be owned and maintained by the town of Westford, and the portions of the right of way that or the drainage that are outside of the right of way would be owned by or maintained by the owners.
Okay, and then the diagram that shows those 5 different treatment systems, it's after the 6-page plan. It's the first, looks like an appendix or something. That doesn't include anything in the roadway or beyond the roadway. And that's where the overflow pipe goes, right?
Yeah, I would. Yes, I can add that to the diagram.
Okay. All right, and I did see the email from Bill, what's his name? At least saying that it was the planning board and the engineering review that requested this overflow. I think that makes sense what their concern was.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? So Matt, you've reviewed the order conditions?
We did. We did not have any comments or questions on it.
Okay. Any other changes to the order from the commission? Okay.
Do you think we should have very clearly identified who owns what pieces, right?
Well, it's part of the OEM, which is going to be part of the planning board decision.
And it's my understanding that this would get recorded with the order conditions, the updated O&M. I can update the O&M and go through it.
Okay.
I will make sure that the O&M manual reflects the ownership between the pipe and the infiltration systems. I'll clarify that.
I assume there's going to be some routine maintenance, sort of like cleaning out catch basins as well as cleaning out this overflow pipe. Because if the one time you need it, when it overflows and the pipe's clogged, then it's the thing we're trying to prevent, which is flooding of Nutting Road, occurs.
I can add a general maintenance for pipes similar to the catch basins. I'll add it as a separate line item.
Okay.
In the O&M.
Can't hear you, Jim.
Can't hear you, Jim.
You're muted.
I just want to make it absolutely crystal clear who owns the pipes when they're done, because I don't want it to flood, have the disaster, and then both sides say, "Oh, I thought we didn't own it. I thought you owned it." You know, it's in the road. It's over the other side of the roadway, but the builder built it. It's got to be clear who owned it and who's going to maintain it.
Yeah, no, we can make sure.
Eric, you had a question?
None. I just, like Jim says, I want to make sure that we get it right. And do we need, in order to do that right, should we get that straightened out before we issue our orders?
Yeah, he should resubmit the OEM, the changed OEM, before we issue the order.
So then we should continue this public hearing.
We continue 2 more weeks. So Matt, you'll get that changes to the OEM and get it to us?
Yep, I can do that.
Okay.
Good.
Any other, just so we cover it, were there any other changes to the order from the commission so we can move this on in 2 weeks? Good. Okay. All right. So we need to continue this to September 9th. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So move. Second.
Eric?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, Matt, thanks very much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks to finish this.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is the continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for Westford Tenant Center for Littleton Road, 3341712. Doug, you there?
Good evening. This is Matt Hammer with Lamplex Engineering.
Okay, Matt.
How are you? So, Attorney Doug DeShane could not attend tonight's hearing, so he apologizes for that. He has fully briefed me on correspondence that's transpired between himself and Carol Gumbart. And we just wanted to let the commission know that we're in full agreement with the draft order of conditions. And we're really appreciative of the commission's help with us on this project.
Okay.
So I guess my question would be, I mean, when we received our packet, or when I looked at the packet online and I looked at the order of conditions, you know, there had been a number of like red line strikeouts. And I'm assuming that the red line strikeouts, are those Carol's or are those the applicant's red line strikeouts?
Is
Trying to
Carol
figure out
not
how many changes?
is Carol not in attendance at this meeting?
No.
It's not.
Okay. It's my understanding that those are Carol's strikeouts on that document.
Okay. I mean, my only comment was at our last meeting, the issue was raised that the 30-foot buffer needed to be maintained, and correspondence was presented to the commission to that effect. And what I had indicated to Carol is, okay, if we're required to keep the 30-foot buffer for purposes of safety, then so be it. But should there come a time when there is no longer a requirement to keep that 30-foot buffer for safety purposes by the fire department or police department or whoever, that the 10-foot buffer, additional buffer that we were seeking, that you know, at such a time when that 30-foot buffer isn't, or that clearing, when it's not needed for safety, that we allow that 10-foot buffer that we requested, that be allowed to naturalize and be in place.
That was never discussed with me. That's the first that I've heard of that comment or condition to the 30-foot buffer. So I would not be able to speak to that. It's my understanding that we're providing the 30-foot buffer with the demarcations as part of this order of conditions.
And I appreciate that. But I mean, we had requested a buffer and we were told a buffer couldn't be provided because you needed the full 30 feet around the building for safety purposes. And what I'm saying, if there comes a time when that 30-foot isn't required around the building for the safety, that the buffers that we were seeking to have as part of this order of conditions allowed to be put in place to have that buffer that we were seeking. And I don't see why that would be an issue, because, you know, from what I understood at our last meeting, there should never be a time when that 30-foot buffer around the building isn't required for safety purposes. But if there becomes such a point in time, then I think we should be allowed to have that wetlands buffer extended that 10 feet or so that we were looking for.
There's one other additional requirement of this 30-foot buffer, and that was for maintenance as well. So,
Yeah, but
you don't need
but
30 foot
you
of maintenance
originally,
on a building.
yeah,
You
you
don't.
were originally going to waive that in your original application. You said you didn't need the 30 feet anymore, and that's why you were going to move the building out. So I think that's not, a very accurate statement about the maintenance. Yeah.
Isn't the buffer between the building and isn't that roadway, doesn't that only have to be 20 feet? According to the
They're
town?
saying it needs to be 30.
Right. They got a letter from the fire department.
Right, but the letter from the fire department didn't say it definitely needed to be 30. It's just that they didn't see any reason to change it, where, the fire department are not conservation commissioners, so they wouldn't necessarily know that there would move it.
I don't think the commission has an issue with what was presented to us. We're just saying if it's no longer required, then we should allow that wetlands buffer to be extended back out to where we wanted it.
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't.
I hear
so
you.
Mr. Foley, this was new to me, this particular condition. So I'm gonna request the commission that I really would need Attorney DeShanes to speak to this particular item, and that we would request to the commission to continue to the next meeting.
Okay, we'll continue with that. Margaret?
I guess, and I hear what you're saying, Eric, and I guess my only question would be, they do the project, they get the certificate of compliance, and sometime after that, all of a sudden, the needs to maintain that pathway around the building change. Do we really have a mechanism for tracking and making it happen?
I don't know, but I can tell you if somebody comes back to us and proposes something new back there, and there's 30 feet between the wetland and the building, I can say, well, it should only be 20 because we should have an extra 10 foot of buffer there.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's requested a continuation, so we'll continue this to our September 9th meeting. Motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All righty, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to our first discussion item, which is the continuation of the discussion and request to modify approved plan Bauer, 3 Kersey Circle, 3341617. Dave, you there? Jim,
Matt?
you want to?
Matt was with us, and then he was also talked with Carol about her group, so probably Matt's the best person.
Yep, so between the two groups, the two areas of concern were the proposed revegetation of or renaturalization of the wetland, and it was determined that the vinyl fence be relocated further into the existing yard and allow the vegetated wetland, as Carol would say, aggressively moving into the lawn, allow it a little more space to expand outwards. And the second part of it was, second point of concern was access to do the actual construction, which Mr. Bauer explained they would be looking to remove sections of the vinyl fence and access the project site that way. I see he is unmuted at this time if he has anything to say.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm here with my wife, Karen. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So the site walk seemed to produce pretty unanimous consensus that the mitigation area would be much more valuable to run along the stretch of 3-foot vinyl fence that I've called out in the new plan where there's some cattail growth. So I relocated the 70 square feet over to that area, pulling that fence into the existing lawn as shown. And with the scale of this plan, you know, it's a bit hard to see, but we basically reproduced the 70 square feet over in that area. And as far as access and staging of materials and equipment, I'm pretty well rehearsed here, having done the house project a few years back. You know, I know where I'm coming in and out off of Kersey, over by the drainage easement area. The white fence that everybody saw on the site walk is going to come out for the project. And I've got a good area to stage material and machinery that's, you know, further away from the wetland buffer rather than on the wetland side of the project. And obviously erosion controls and wattles, things like that are on the plan. And we used all those systems for the house project, which was pretty invasive with the new septic and other things. And we didn't have any releases into the buffer area. So I submitted a letter that hopefully is here asking for your approval of this modification and asking or suggesting a condition that I work with Carol on the species for the plantings, because we weren't really able to pin down a species in the moment, but we agreed that we could just work something out that's native and appropriate. And lastly, in my letter, I was hoping that the commission would consider allowing the patio to be impervious products. I don't plan on doing poured concrete. I do plan on using pavers, but in doing some research, the impervious pavers were limited in the products that were available and more costly. And so my hope is that the commission would be okay with, you know, more of a conventional paver product for the patio itself.
Comments on the commission on this patio?
So with these impervious pavers that you like because you have more variety and they're cheaper than the pervious pavers, is there any spacing around the pavers? Are you putting these pavers right next to one another? I'm just wondering, is there infiltration between the impervious pavers?
No, that really is a key aspect to the pervious pavers. Have significant separation, kind of like a grout line that allows water penetration. And I've gathered a little bit of feedback that sometimes can be unpleasant to kids running around barefoot. Not that we've been running, but I'm just looking for an appropriate surface around the pool. And so I would like to put a typical paver patio without gaps between the pavers.
You know, well, I can hear what you're saying, and I respect what you're saying. I know you're coming to us, and you're seeking relief on the setback, and while we're trying to provide that, you know, in my mind, you know, I can do that with pervious pavers. It may not be quite what you want, but it grants you the relief you're looking for at least from me. So I guess I wouldn't be comfortable with the impervious pavers and granting you the relief you are seeking.
Well, if it comes
So
down
I'm in favor of pervious pavers for infiltration purposes.
Pervious or impervious? Pervious?
Pervious for infiltration.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
He wants to put an impervious.
Right, exactly. Okay. The original plan, I take it, was pervious pavers. Right.
The original plan the original plan did not call that out. In our last meeting, I just mentioned that it's something I would look into. And,
Okay.
you know, if that's a deciding factor, we'll just have to figure out how to make it work.
Okay. Margaret? You're muted.
Yeah, when, when we're done with the papers, I have another topic to bring up.
Okay.
So with the filtration system, on the site visit, you said there was going to be no backwash, and I really am struggling to understand how the debris that's captured in the filter will be cleared out of the filter if there is no backwash.
Yeah, well, in my memo that I submitted, I just passed along the feedback that I got from my pool vendor that I know the pool that I had as a young child was an old chlorine system, and I can remember the term backwash, and there would be water rushing out of it to flush out that filter. So I know what you mean by that. With the saline pool, I've asked multiple vendors, and they've made it very clear that it's some sort of a cartridge type of filter where you don't have to do that backwash and pump a bunch of dirty water out onto the ground. You somehow service the cartridge or replace it in a way that doesn't require you to discharge water. So what I was able to make clear, and I'm willing to condition, is that water is not discharged from the pool or the filter system. And in the event that I have to do a major repair where I do have to drain the pool, I could truck the water out.
No, and that brings me to my second point, is it's not just if you have to do a major repair. If we get significant rain where the level of water in the pool is too high and you need to draw the water down, we need to understand how that water level will be reduced and where the water will go. And I think this should be something that your pool contractor can give you. If they say that they can do it without releasing the water into the buffer zone, you know, we need to see the documentation of how that pool structure will work. You know, because you're very close to the wetland. If there's discharge of dirty or salty water, that can have an effect on the wetland, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, I'm going to have a maintenance company coming regularly, and I'm happy to have a condition that requires,
Me personally, I'd like to see what your pool vendor is giving you that says it's not going to happen. This is the time that we can get things planned out correctly so there aren't problems going forward. We'd much rather plan ahead and not have to deal with things after the fact.
Okay.
Okay.
Other questions from the commission? Noel?
In the area that we were talking about for the mitigation, I did notice that the cattails are coming into the yard there's a few of them coming into the yard, and they were weed whacked by, I believe you said it was the landscaper that did that. The cattails they're a threatened species, and they really should not be removed or damaged in any way. So I just also want to make sure that you reach out to your landscaper, whoever's going to be doing the landscaping, that if in the future, and probably when in the future, the cattails start to move their way into the yard, they're not disturbed in any way.
Okay. Understood.
Thank you.
Eric? Jim?
One of the things we learned at the site visit is in the northwest corner of the proposed pool, there's going to be a small stone wall of some sort, because that pool is on a sloping ground. And I believe it was 2 feet. Is that the homeowner? Is that what you told us? Just 2 feet tall?
That is a possibility. At the moment, the vendor believes, the landscape architect believes that they're going to be able to avoid the wall. But if they struggle to do that, it would be something like a 18-inch wall.
Okay, under 2 feet. But if any reason gets to be on the order of 4 feet, then you need to be an engineered, stamped plan for the wall. But if it's under 2 feet, you shouldn't have a problem.
I'm pretty certain of that. The question will just be if they need something minor to hold back the grade a little bit for the patio.
And if so, it would always be on that northwest corner of the pool, up closest to the house, right?
That's a certainty, yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
So you guys, this is a requested change. Are you guys going to consider this as a rather simple change to the plan? I mean, we've not reopened a public hearing here, so.
Let's call it a minor change.
Okay.
Well,
In order to finalize this, Dave, you need to resubmit that letter because we don't want impervious products being used on the patio.
Pavers.
well, at least within the 30 feet.
Yeah.
Could I make a request that the board vote with the condition that I resubmit the plan calling out the use of pervious pavers and the condition on the agent approving the species for the plantings within the 30 feet? That would just allow me to move forward with scheduling a vendor who has warned me several times that he's about to kick me out of 2021, not just the fall, but 2021.
Well, and Margaret also wants to see some maintenance, some kind of maintenance for the pool.
It's not like you're not going to get your order of conditions.
No, I understand. Just trying to cross my T's and dot my I's before I put down a sizable deposit. And again, in terms of conditions, I'm happy to agree to submit that information from the pool vendor as a condition as well.
Well, we're going to approve this as a simple modification, but you've got to supply us all these details before anything starts.
Understood. That's why I'm calling it conditioned.
Okay. So the request here is to accept his modified plan or that he's going to submit to us as a simple change and doesn't require another hearing. So that's what we need to approve.
I make that motion.
So when in the realm of simple changes, I mean, basically we moved his pool. What other minor changes have we made here besides moving the pool?
I mean, move
Fence,
The fence, it's not the pool.
to expand the wetland area.
right, not the pool.
No, but he had to rotate his pool slightly, I thought.
I did have to relocate and finalize the exact shape of the pool. So it was really just the final design of the pool and patio with the relocation of the fence and the creation of a mitigation area. And I also eliminated much of the proposed house expansion that was on the original plan. That came off of the new plan.
I mean, to me, that sounds like more than a minor change, Peter. I'm just,
Other commission members? What does the other commission members feel on this? I think it's quite a few changes myself, so.
I mean, I want to give this guy what he needs to get his pool, but I also want to do it right. And there just seems to be an awful lot of modifications here to be considered just a minor change in my mind.
Well, can I just point out that the in terms of impacts, I mean, I'm cleaning up what has happened with the project, right? So I have eliminated house expansion that I did not do. That's a reduction in impact. So I understand that's a modification, but I'm just trying to clean up the plan for the way the project finalized. And I guess I would just suggest that in terms of impacts, I really don't feel it's a major modification that requires a hearing.
Oh,
Margaret, Jim?
my question is, and this is just keeping things clean, is where there were, if the reduction of scope to the modifications to the house were significant, are there potentially conditions or conditions in the order that are no longer relevant because of the way the project has changed? And so there is stuff that we can't, there's stuff that's no longer relevant in the order of conditions because of the changes that have been made. That would
I
be,
can, yep, I can tell you that's not the case. And in my memo, I pointed out the fact that even though I've dramatically reduced the scope of the house impact, I still went ahead and completed all the conditions of the permit, adding the fence that was not there at all, reducing the square footage of the yard. And, you know, I've satisfied those conditions.
okay, no, I was just thinking something that you were asked to do that's no longer relevant to be done because the house expansion was reduced. And I was just, you know, I don't remember, I was not on the commission during the original hearing, so I don't know what else we may have asked you to do that we don't need you to do anymore. And that was just why I needed clarification.
Yeah, I'm glad you're asking that. And I'd point you back to my original memo because I really was very specific about that. The things that I was asked to do, like plant a certain number of trees, add fence, reduce lawn, all of that has been done, and really more trees than were asked of me at the time.
Peter, you had asked what my thoughts were. I'm okay. It's a bit of a stretch, but I think I can go along with it as a minor change.
Thank you.
I agree.
You agree? Ian?
If all the details are submitted, I think I agree it's a little much, but I go along with minor change.
Okay, so it looks like the commission's going to vote in favor of a minor change. So Dave, you need to get us all this revised data, and we can take a vote on it being considered a minor change, which will pass, but you're still going to have to get all this information into the office and to Matt and to Carol before you can do anything else, okay?
I'll get on it right away.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the requested changes as minor?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Eric?
I'm not in favor.
Okay. Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Peter? No. Okay, Dave, you're all set. You just need to get your homework done and get this in as soon as possible.
I'll get right on it. Thank you for your help, everybody, and thanks for coming out to the site.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Take care.
Okay, our next agenda item is a request to modify plans from sonotubes to foundation at 9 Joyce Road. And that's Mark Ticknell. Mark, are you there?
Hello. Yes, this is Mark
Yep.
Tignall. I'm the homeowner at 9 Joyce Circle. I appeared before the commission in February, and I proposed to have the current deck on my house be replaced by an addition which would extend my kitchen. And the original plan was to put that on piers that would be screwed into the ground. And this summer we hired an architect, and he prefers an alternate plan that would put the addition on a foundation. And so there would not be piers under the building part of the addition. There's still a deck that's added onto that, which is also part of the original plan. And that would, of course, still be on piers. And the footprint that we proposed is not changing, and none of the drainage is changing. We're just changing what's under the addition from piers to an excavated foundation.
Is this going to be a full foundation or just a frost wall?
It'll be a full foundation.
It will be. Okay, so you're going to have to do quite a bit of excavation now instead of doing sonotubes. So how is that going to be handled?
We're going to truck out the dirt we remove.
Had we on the original plan had erosion control then at some point?
No, that was not part of the original plan.
So, and how close are you to the wetland with the foundation?
So the very corner of the new deck is slightly over 50 feet from wetlands. The actual excavation under the addition is farther.
Okay, and what's the slope going from there down to the wetland? Is it steep, flat?
It's very negligible. you know, it's a wetland, so obviously it is a lower elevation, but the yard is essentially flat.
Okay. But I think we're probably going to have you put in some erosion control just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think if they're digging a full foundation, I think there's gonna end up being, you know, some dirt piled around. And
Yeah.
if you have any rainstorms or anything like that, there will
Yeah.
be flow towards the wetland, so,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we should have the erosion control.
Margaret?
But also, if it's a full foundation under the deck, do we actually lose area that's permeable?
No. The original plan, the current deck was becoming his his new room, and it was on sonotubes, but there was no. It's you know.
Yeah, it was
it's
covered.
impervious.
It was impervious.
It was covered anyway.
It was impervious under the deck?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, under the
there's a
pro-
roof
the
over the
plan.
top of it.
Yeah. Nothing's changed. He's right. Nothing's changed according to that.
Okay.
Well, Noel.
On the Google Earth image of the house, there's a shed in the back far corner of the property. How far is that from the wetland, and what are you storing in that shed?
The shed has yard equipment and some other basic chemicals and things like that.
And how far is that from the wetland?
I'm not sure I can give you a precise number on that. There is a survey that we discussed in the meeting in February. It looks to be about 30 feet. I'm going to be moving that shed anyway.
Farther from the wetland?
Yes.
Okay, because where there's chemicals in it, I wouldn't want to see that close to the wetland at all.
Noted.
Okay, so as part of this minor modification, we're going to have you install erosion control, and you need to run that by Carol and Matt. Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. So is everybody okay with this as being a minor change?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, Mark, just get that new diagram to Matt and Carol, okay?
Will do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to some requests for certificate of compliances. The first one is for Caldwell, 112 Keys Road, 3341006A. This is for a septic system. Matt, it's all set?
This is actually the order of conditions.
Yes, so this was the order of conditions. It was, the discussion was at the last meeting. Eric, you had concerns
Yeah,
regarding.
so Peter, I had a question. The house said it was a 4-bedroom. The septic was actually a 6-bedroom septic, but it was supposed to be maximum feasible compliance because it's within the buffer zone for a resource area. So we was having Carol trying to find out what the scoop was on how we could allow a 6-bedroom septic to be built, within a buffer to a resource. And I guess it was put in at some point, there was a failing septic, and then, Bill ratified the emergency certificate. But it seemed like whoever put it in at the time put in a 6-bedroom septic. But it shouldn't be that the 4-bedroom home could in the future be increased to a 6-bedroom, because you got a 6-bedroom septic, but it's within 60 feet of the resource area. So that's what I was trying to bring out.
All right. So how do we get around this? I'm not sure what to do here.
All I can say is, we just have to make sure that, the home stays at it, just because it has a 6-bedroom septic, since the septic was built in the buffer, that it the amount of bedrooms can never increase more than the amount that's already there, which is 4.
Okay. But I'm not sure how to put this into a legally
Not sure, I mean, but that's really what we're trying to memorialize here.
No, I understand that, but, I mean.
And that was what kept it open last time. We were trying to find out what the issue was with the septic, and indeed it was a 6-bedroom septic.
Okay, that's fine, but now we need to find out, how do you get this into a deed-related document? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the certificate of compliance isn't gonna do it, right? I don't know, we'll have to look into this more, so
Yeah,
we'll leave
I'm
it.
not sure.
Okay, so we'll leave it. Okay, the next one is, if I can find my second page.
Mr. Chair, you also skipped over
What did I skip?
the item 334.
Oh, yeah.
1126, the requirements
I'm
for
sorry,
this.
yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that one, yeah.
They,
So let's go-
I think they're on the phone. So Carol and I went out to do a site visit last week, and there were the photos provided in your packet.
Right.
So they bought here's the photo from when they purchased the property, and the previous owner had applied for the order of, or was the recipient of the order of conditions, and blueberry bushes were required to be installed along the wetland buffer, or the wetlands edge. Those weren't installed, or those weren't planted, but as seen in the photo from this past week, the current homeowners have put in this white vinyl fence, and the wetland vegetation and some invasive species as well have encroached further up the embankment from where the blueberry bushes would have been planted anyways. And they're looking for guidance on what is required for their certificate of compliance. And I don't know if the Miss Chafin, are you on the phone?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, hi. Yes, so you described it well, and so you're right, we're looking to sell our property, and so the condition was unknown to us that the certificate of compliance wasn't filed. And my husband Jay is here with me.
Yeah, that's correct. The original plans were submitted to the commission in 2003, and I confirmed from the previous owner that she never sought the as-built plan or the certificate of compliance. So it was 17 years ago when this was first submitted to you.
Right. We bought the house in 2016.
2016.
And-
And we were not informed of the outstanding order of compliance or order of conditions. And in fact, the only place that it was in our closing documents was in the title insurance that was given to us after closing, which we didn't even know it was there until we went to go sell the house in this past month. So we're a bit confused as what to do, because do we need to do a as-built survey again, which would be pretty troublesome for us because we have an offer on the house and we're closing on 24 September. So if we could get some guidance, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
I think they need the as-built, Peter, to get the certificate, don't they? I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's a given.
Yeah, you're gonna need the as-built.
As far as the blueberry bushes
Yeah.
being planted, I mean, if the evasives and, vegetation that we would typically find in a buffer zone has come up and actually gone into the areas that would have had like low bush or high bush blueberry, I could see where we might forego the installation of the blueberry bushes. But I mean, I'm thinking the as-built is a condition of getting your certificate of compliance. So I don't know how you get around that one.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I think you're right, Eric. I think that's what we need. Like you said, we can forgo the planting of the bushes. Obviously, that you got a jungle back there now. So I think that's what we're going to have to require.
It's actually going to be extremely difficult to get before our closing. And of course, all of this was built before we even owned the house, and we didn't have any idea about this. What if the as-built plan is in variance from the original plan? What could potentially happen?
Well,
I mean, unless it's really out of whack, nothing.
Nothing's going to happen. We just need we need it for the record.
We need it to complete it.
Yep.
Okay.
If there's any significant differences, we would obviously consider those, but if there's just minor differences, we'd identify them and that would be it.
Okay.
All right.
I think you'll
All
be
right,
fine.
thank
You just need to get that done.
Yeah, it's really hard to get surveyors these days. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of building going on, but
yeah,
we will
busy
try
times. Very busy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next certificate of compliance is Wilkin 10 Pleasant Street, 33491. Carol said that is okay to approve.
Yes, that was a almost 40-year-old order. The work was done along Forge Pond. Everything's stabilized. The house is being sold, and likely the commission will be seeing a new a filing from the potential new homeowner when they look to redo stairs and the area along the shore. So.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve a certificate of compliance for Wilkins 10 Pleasant Street, 33491?
Second.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn? Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Our next COC is Brinkerhoff, 22 April Lane, Lot 25, 334-687. Matt, this is a partial?
Yes, they're looking for, it's actually 24, the seller of 24 April Lane is looking for a partial certificate of compliance. A portion of 22 April Lane, which is now called Parcel A, was found to be transferred via lot line adjustment to 24 April Lane. So the previous homeowners who sold is looking to have that Parcel A accept or the certificate of compliance issued for that portion of Parcel A. Or for Parcel A.
Possibly 20. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for Brinkerhoff 22 April Lane, Lot 25, Parcel A, 334-687?
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, the final one is George Allen and Sons Construction, 96 Nutting Road, 334-1727. What's with that, Matt? I don't have the notes on that one.
This came before the commission last summer. It's a new single-family house, and there's only a small section of the driveway that encroaches within the buffer of a wetland across Nutting Way or Nutting Road. They've since built the house, the driveway's installed, the erosion controls are still up. They've recently hydroseeded. Again, the only work that was done within the buffer was the installation of the driveway and everything. The driveway has been installed, and there's still a silt sack in the catch basin outside the right outside the driveway. So everything looked good there.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve George Allen and Sons Construction, 96 Nutting Road, 3341727?
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, the next item is release of escrow funds on two different escrow funds. 1723 Bentley, Lot 2, Lowell Road, and 162540 Groton Road. Carol says it's okay to release these.
Yes,
Any questions?
they're just cleaning up housekeeping for our books.
Okay, so can I have a motion to the effect to release these escrow funds?
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim? Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, approved July 22nd, 2020 minutes. I know, Margaret, you sent in some changes.
So did
Yes,
I.
and so did Marilyn.
Okay. So Matt, have you gotten all those?
Yes, I've received both of those, and we'll incorporate them. If there's anything else from the commission, I'll take notes and make the changes.
Any other changes? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the July 22nd, 2020 meeting minutes as amended?
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
I believe I have to abstain from this because I was not on the commission at that point. Is that true?
Oh, you weren't, right. Yep, you abstained. Yep. Okay. And Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, I think that's it. Anybody have anything else?
No.
Okay, anything from the audience? I don't see anybody else left. Okay, motion to adjourn then.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Of course.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Peter, yes. So everybody going to be at our next meeting on the 9th?
Yep.
I may
Okay,
not,
we'll see you.
I may not be.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Of course.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Peter, yes. So everybody going to be at our next meeting on the 9th?
Yep.
I may
Okay, we'll
not,
see you.
I may not be.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?